What did we learn about Clemson last night, Brady? Did we learn anything about Clemson? They just ran into a buzzsaw. What do you got for me on their postscript?
I think you're taking away the fact that this was the first time this season, and you can go back to the North Carolina game, and I'll talk about the Ohio State game in a second, but I don't know that they really felt, a sense of urgency like what they felt last night. Ohio State jumped out to a lead in the semifinal game. The difference was they were kind of aided, right? Some calls went their way. After the Shaun Wade ejection for targeting, that gave them a bit of a lift on that specific drive and that point in the game. Takes out one of the better defensive backs for Ohio State. The catch that looked to me to be a fumble and then return, that took away at least some points off the board for them. So, even though, and look, you give them credit for coming back in the game the way they played, it wasn't quite the same. Like, this was one where Trevor Lawrence and this offense was going to have to put up points. They were going to have to be, special the entire night and have one of their best performances. And I just think in the second half, two things that became pretty apparent. The coaching staff, they got away from Travis Etienne. It was a 3-point ball game with a little less than 11 minutes to play. And I think he touched the ball like one other time the rest of the way. I mean, he really didn't touch the football much, and he's one of their best players. And so I think they panicked a little bit in that sense. And then with Trevor Lawrence, you saw the number of high throws. Look, he got a little anxious. I think he started to realize that he was now in a shootout with the guy across the field from him, and he ended up playing against Joe Burrow instead of playing against the LSU defense. He started overstriding. He started making some of those throws that started to sail on him a little bit. That's typically what happens when you do that. So it's a learning experience for him. He's a true sophomore. He's had so much success. I don't worry about him. I don't really worry about Clemson. They'll reload for next year. And then, to be quite honest, they'll be my favorite to win next year.
Well, the word Schadenfreude is out there in terms of people who enjoy the misery of others. When James Skalski got ejected for targeting last night, and Clemson's, I guess, quarterback of the defense is removed, Ohio State fans that I know were particularly enjoying that moment. I think they found a little bit of deliciousness in that moment. Do you think that was a good call last night, Brady?
Based on the letter of the law, unfortunately, that's what should have taken place. And we can all complain about targeting and the way it's implemented in the game. However, at this point, it's there for player safety. You could tell based on the replay that he lowered his head and initiated contact with the crown of his helmet. They're trying to eliminate that from the game. And I was sitting next to Urban Meyer talking to him about the Shaun Wade hit. And he'd said to me at that moment, look, bottom line is you can talk about how unfair it was and how unfair the rule is, but everyone knows it now. We're teaching it. We're trying to teach everyone to keep their head up. That's all he had to do. And Shaun Wade didn't do that in the Ohio State Clemson game. So, look, should they go back and try to change the rule so that we can try to read into intent of the hit? Because I do think there are differences where you look at the hit in the semifinal game between Oklahoma and LSU, and that more looked like a malicious hit, and there was intent behind that by the linebacker for Oklahoma versus Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I believe, as compared to Shaun Wade or as compared to the linebacker last night. So it's something that I do think college football is going to look at. I don't see them, looking to change it anytime soon, though, because ultimately we are getting, more, proper form tackling, less of these sorts of hits and injuries. And I think that's really ultimately what we want.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.